see if they can respond to the opening challenge.
Right.
Okay?
Because we did that, Skip, when we were in Baltimore in 2000, we went to toss defense on the field first.
Okay, but you had that defense.
Exactly.
Okay.
But I'm saying, Skip,
the Dallas defense missed 19 tackles at Chicago. The Dallas defense turned Mitchell Trubisky into Lamar Trubisky. And you saw what happened yesterday, even though the weather was brutally cold, but it was 21-13, so he scored 13 points against Green Bay.
Right.
And somehow the Packers are still hanging in and could get the 1 seed.
Still hanging in.
That's all
Skip,
another
they had a Hail Mary. I don't know why Robinson and Miller didn't jump on the ball. Skip, the ball was right there.
They had them. Now, they would have had to go for 2 to tie, right?
Right. But I'm saying.
But still, okay? But all you could muster against the Green Bay defense is they could have had like 60 against the Dallas defense, it felt like. So the point was, using the common sense rule, I think Walt Anderson knew exactly what Dak was trying to say, but technically he said it wrong because he said, we want to kick.
Right.
Okay, well, once you say that, he gave him a second chance, and he said, we want to defer. I think he even said one other thing before he said defer.
But you can't, but Skip, you don't get a second chance.
But he was still listening at that point to, now you sure you want to do this? And he said the magic word. And I want to thank Fox Sports for having the audio and actually airing the audio, because it put the league in a tough spot.
Right.
Because if you let it stand that you're going to kick to the Rams to start the second half, even though by that point it was not that consequential, but it would have looked, the league would have looked bad because the magic word defer came
how does it look that official is helping a player? Are you sure? Are you sure you don't want this 15-yard penalty? Because that's what Walt Anderson did. Are you sure you want to kick?
But he didn't let him off the hook, because then he told both sidelines it's the Rams' ball to start the second half.
And that's why the league shouldn't have intervened. Dak Prescott, Skip, hold on. How am I supposed to deduce Dak wants to defer to the second half when he says, we want to kick? How am I supposed to deduce that?
Well, because you asked him a second time because you weren't sure what he was saying, and he said, we want to defer.
Skip, I've been a lot of time playing 14 years, and I went to the center field. I've never, ever heard an official ask a player a second time, are you sure? Or do you want to do this?
It wasn't that he was saying, we want to kick. It was that he was saying, we want to kick this way.
Right.
Because now you're really, you've chosen.
Because Walt Anderson, I guarantee you, Walt Anderson has never in his years, all the years of officiating, Skip, has never had a situation the guy says we want to kick, give the ball up in the first half, and give it up again in the second half. So that's why he was so caught off guard. He's like, are you?
It's why Mike Pereira, former director of officials, said on Fox, hey, you just have to use a little bit of common sense here. Because you know in your heart of hearts, Dak meant we want to defer. Right?
No! How do I get hold on.
I mean, you know it. I'm saying Walt Anderson can't know for sure, but you know, and I think he was deducing, wait a second, they don't want to do that, do they?
But I'm Skip.
But who would want to do that?
That's like me saying, well, I know that guy meant to block that guy, but he didn't. So, no, Skip, he said, we want to kick. How do I get we want to kick to defer? How do we get that?
Just you want to defer the decision to them, right?
No, he said.
Okay, I don't even know this, but if you defer it and they say no, we want to kick, right?
Well, guess what? Dallas gets the ball and they get the ball in the second half because basically that's what Dak did. Dak basically won the toss, deferred, and gave them the opportunity to get the ball the first half and the second half. So that's what would happen if Skip wins. I'm the visitor, Skip's the home team. I call it lose, and I say, well, I want to defer. Well, Skip said, I defer back to you. I said, okay, well, thank you.
Yeah,
I appreciate that.
So it did remind me of an infamous story that happened in Dallas, Texas, and longtime Cowboy fans will remember this, but it was the AFL championship game of 1962, and I know it was a long time ago, but it's infamous because it was Lamar Hunt's Dallas Texans who shared the Cotton Bowl with the young Dallas Cowboys. They were in the championship game against the Houston Oilers, and overtime came, and a star of the Texans named Abner Haynes said, they won the toss, and he said, we want to kick to the clock. Well, once you say to the clock, you're doing what Dak did yesterday. We want to kick that way. And he meant he meant the opposite. And so the Oilers got the ball, even though Texans had won the toss in overtime, the Oilers got the ball. Unfortunately for the Texans, they won the championship. in 2 overtimes,
Right.
and then the next year, Lamar Hunt moved them to Kansas City, and they became the Chiefs.
Good story.
Because Skip, a lot of times what happens is that when you defer, especially under conditions, if it's a windy conditions, you want to win the second quarter because knowing you're going to get it the third. Because you don't want to give the team, I don't want to give you the ball and the win. No. You know what I'm saying? So we can pick. You got to pick one or the other. And so when Dak says we want to kick, and he's like, kick that way, Walter Anderson's like,
once you're that way, then that's it.
Skip, I guarantee you, I don't know how long Walter Anderson has been an official, but I can assure you, he's never heard that before.
Nope.
And so that's what caught him off guard, and that's why, like, you said you want to, because he know what he had just given up. You had just given up the ball the first half and the second half.
Yep.
NFL, you got to stay out of this one.
That's where the common sense rule comes. I mean, Prayer's the best, though. I love having him a part of these crews. He really is so good.
Yeah.
I love working with him. But we have to talk about Tom Brady, and I